There's a guy named Frank Van Driessche of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, Joint Task Force, literally mentioned in the same breath right under Michelle Bullock from the Reserve Bank of Australia. Why is he important? The American Bankers Association, preparing for the Fedwire migration to ISO 222, March 2025, literally published last August. What do you see in regards to Mr. Frank Van Driessche? Well, here he is. And he is head of ISO 222, Federal Reserve Bank of New York. And what's his focus? It's the adoption for him of ISO 222 by the Fedwire Fund Service and joined by FedNow team. All right. Listen to this. Before joining the Federal Reserve, Frank had positions at SWIFT. So he gets it. Where he was responsible for the global adoption of ISO 222 by payment market infrastructures. And here's where it also gets interesting, everybody, and why I mention things like Quant. European Banking Federation and senior advisor during the realization of SEPA. Remember how many times we talked about Quant and SEPA? So that's interesting. He also holds a master's degree of the Brussels Solvay Business School. Oh, he went to business school like me. Cool. All right. Well, what else do we have? This guy was over at Smarter Payments or Smarter Faster Payments 2025, head of ISO 2022, FedNow Product Management, and apparently last March or May, give or take, he met up with these key people. Interesting. Very interesting, especially with Miriam Sherrill, head of Product US Form 3, and Susan Meyer, RTP Product Development over at the Clearinghouse. All right. So we talked about this guy's position. Maybe he's rubbed elbows with another person that sits on the same committee, which would be who? Yeah, that's right, Gilbert Verdian, because you go to gilbertverdian.com/CV, and Gilbert's, resume, we cited this many times. Gilbert Verdian is still part of the Federal Reserve Fed Payments Improvement Community from April 2018 to present. So there's that. All right. Shout out to the Stronghold community. Why is this important? Because what you see here is unlocking seamless interbank connectivity through ISO standards, harmonizing FedNow, RTP, Fedwire, and chips. Interesting to see that as well. And again, who is right there? Frank Van Driessche. Right, NACHA. Smarter, Faster Payments 2025. What is NACHA connected to, everybody? You know the answer if you follow Stronghold. If you go to nacha.org, you see NACHA Preferred Partner announced August 8, 2024 that they announced Stronghold as a preferred partner for ACH experience in ISO 222. Interesting. Well, some of you guys, and I'll just take a pause for a moment, will point out, well, Stronghold doesn't have a direct partnership with the BISMAX. Why point that out? Hey, I'm ahead of you. But we will outline that Stronghold is built on Stellar. And since it's built on Stellar, wouldn't that be part of the Stellar ecosystem? So wouldn't that be the plug to the BIS? Well, I'll show you more proof about Stellar and the BIS here in a bit. But let's take you to this next part on, again, why it's important. Because when you look up some key things that was mentioned earlier, I don't know if you're paying attention to this particular part. Remember how we talked about this, the multi-CBDC? Yes, we did. Well, on a search one of only one result, think about this, everybody. Citi predicts 4 trillion of tokenized assets. Let's take you over to here. On this particular section, it says until now, from the Quant Network, only smaller CBDC projects have been based on DLT. Why is that important? Because only the smaller CBD projects have been able to envision some major banks issuing DLT-based CBDCs, and India's retail CBDC could have some sort of distributed ledger technology. But it's China's participation in the multi-CBDC bridge and how that is based on a DLT. All right, that's interesting. Because if you're wondering about it all, is Quant's Overledger technically a DLT? Well, of course. Quant's network overledger platform is a form of distributed ledger technology designed for universal enterprise interoperability. It's a basic search. Basic search. Stellar does in fact have a partnership with the BIS. Where are the areas of highlights? Stellar had a thing with G20 Tech Sprint in regards to being shortlisted, at least with ANZ, in a G20 Tech Sprint hosted by BIS and, of course, Bank of Indonesia. It was a partnership created, which was a prototype solution for CBDC on Web3. And, of course, there's the whole thing of, some other things, right? Liberty Consortium. We understand the whole thing of recently MasterCard, Franklin Templeton. But again, that's all there. And that dates back to 2022. So that's a real thing with Stellar. Again, Stellar, Stronghold, part of the Stellar ecosystem. So you could say pretty much that's that flagship, if you will, the part of that umbrella. I want to put some more emphasis, again, on the material and why it matters. So if you're not aware, a turnkey system. I know this is somewhat verbatim, but you need to understand this. So for a turnkey system, M10 has developed a core system with 6 components needed to run a CBDC or modern payment system. Each of the components serves as an essential function, as horizontally scalable based on its load. All right. Well, in the center, you see some of the, again, terminology, and on this area, I'll blow this up for you, because you see 2 areas. The Bank Administration Client Application Software Development Kit, and also that Mobile Client Application Software Development Kit, SDK. All right, where does the ledger come involved? Well, talking to the API gateway. Well, it's safe to say that when it comes to Quant and the Overledger, you know their role. And we'll get into some of these other coins and tokens, I promise. But identity management, again, understanding that at the core of that ledger, 1 million TPS, 1 million plus. And here's your aha moment. I'll blow this up a little bit more. It's this area about the service module coming from external data, messaging, sanctions, ISO 222, etc. Higher level architecture. So ISO 222, that's interesting. And we'll get into why, again, that is so interesting. Because when we go over to this M10.io white paper of the M10, on page 28 of 28, you see, plain as day, that there's key benefits in regards to the M10 solution. Number 1, control of M0 money. Again, code for central bank money. And that's supplied by the central bank and M1 money by commercial banks. Will this lead to high transaction throughput of 1 million plus TPS? Yes. Will that handle sustained peak payment volumes? Yes. Let's talk about that for a brief moment. Because again, I, as in Max of Maximus Crypto, had to have the same user experience as Alice and Jesse and Bob and Frank and Mike and, Tim and Tommy and all those other particular people. One user can't be throttled, because if they are, then what about others? And what about other people at peak volumes? We can't have these oh crap moments happening all the time. If anything, look at Solana. It does go down. But this is the big money moving forward. As we get more into this, I want you to see here that it's all about real-time payments, entering things like Ripple XRP, Stellar XLM, Hedera, etc., Algorand. But it's the settlement of equities in milliseconds. Share ledger access and connectivity between financial institutions, data privacy protection. Again, think about Quant, and then security, things like that. But again, emphasis on the bottom part about extensible platform to connect, think about the platform and the connection with external services. ISO 222. For me, it's that orchestration of how that comes together.
If managing your crypto feels like solving a puzzle, it's time to switch to Decent Wallet. So just a few taps, you can manage, track, and secure your crypto with unmatched ease. And here's the best part. Grab your Decent Wallet at a discounted price by using the referral link below. Don't miss out on making your crypto experience smoother and more secure.